Here's the lie about how the absent black father was built, not born. When slavery ended, white lawmakers needed a new way to control black people, so they created black codes. These laws turned everyday life for freedmen into a crime. No job, vagrancy, jail, standing on the corner, loitering, jail, traveling without papers, suspicious, jail. Once locked up, men were torn from their families and forced into labor. It was slavery rebranded, profitable for the state and devastating for the home. As black families began to rebuild, the welfare system twisted fatherlessness into a weapon. If a man lived in the house, women could lose their benefits. So fathers weren't leaving by choice, they were being pushed out by policy. Then came the 1980s war on drugs, harsh sentencing, mass incarceration, and an explosion of broken homes. The media piled on, selling America the deadbeat dad stereotype. But here's the truth. This wasn't born in our neighborhoods. It was engineered in courtrooms and legislated into existence. Was it the people, or was it the policy?
All right, Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Kahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, shalom. All right. The title of this video is going to be that's what I typed in on this chat GPT. The title of this video is going to be Esau had to destroy our families so he could destroy our nation. Okay. And, at one point, the Israelite family unit, okay, it was a very strong unit. Okay. And, a lot of Israelite boys and girls, because of that strong family unit, they came up with the right mindset. Okay. They respected, hierarchies. They were more successful. All right. They were more clear-minded, because when you have your mother and your father in the household and you grow up with your mother and your father, okay, raising you together, all right, the child will more likely grow up to be a success. The child will more likely grow up to have more morals. You know what I mean? Just be a good all-around human being, okay? And what Esau did, all right, he introduced certain propaganda movements like feminism, like welfare. He painted the narrative of a deadbeat dad, and, the deadbeat dad was always the so-called black man, okay? Which, that's a lie, because when you look into the statistics of active fathers in the household, the so-called black man is the most active father in America, okay? So Esau created all of these lies, all right, just to break up our families, all right? And now look at the Israelite man and the Israelite woman today, okay? Primarily the black man and the black woman, because that's really where it starts, because that's the head tribe, the tribe of Judah. You know what I'm saying? Look at the Judite man and the Judite woman today. They can't get along for shit. Okay. The usual occurrence with the black woman that has children, she's usually a single mother. It'd be low key, almost like a miracle to see a black woman still with the father of her children, right? And they're raising their children as a family together. That should be low key a miracle. You don't see that often, because most black females that have children, they're usually single mothers. All right. Playing the field, introducing a whole bunch of stepdaddies into the child's life. You know what I mean? And all of them, negative lifestyles that they're doing in front of the children. Okay, that negatively affects the child, man. All right. That's why you got a bunch of, unrestrained men that are in prison Israelite men that are in prison. And most of those men that are in prison, because they can't contain themselves in society, most of those men grew up without a father. They grew up with a single black mother, you know? And this was all a part of Esau's design. Okay, it's a rinse, cycle, repeat process here. Okay, liberate the woman, put it inside of the woman's mind that she don't need a man. She can raise the children on her own. The man is holding her back, right? She has her own vision for how she wants to raise the child outside of the man's instructions. So kick him out the house, raise the child on your own, right? And then the child grows up to be a fuck up. You know what I mean? And the cycle continues. You know, now, is that every single case that, you know, children who have single mothers, you grew up with single mothers, end up being fuck ups? No, that's not every single case. But I'll probably say the majority of the cases. You know what I mean? A lot of these young Israelite men that grew up with their mama only, they usually end up to have some sort of disconnect in regards to being an actual man. You know, a lot of these Jakes, they be super emotional. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these Israelite men be super emotional to where you can't tell him nothing because he never had the instruction of a man, right? That's what your father teaches you. Your father teaches you that things are not always going to go your way. Okay, your father will tell you something and he don't give a fuck if you like it or not. You got to deal with it. But when you grow up with your mama and that's all you know what I'm saying? You think the world owes you something. You throw temper tantrums, right? And then the daughters, they just grow up to just be some sluts, right? Because the father's not around. The father is not around to show her what type of men to look out for. You know what I mean? To be cautious of, right? And she gets out here and she's loose with her body, okay? With no care in the world, all right? So now the whole entire family is fucked up. Now the father, he's paying child support and he gets to only see his kids on the weekend. So his instruction is not being 100% cemented inside of the children's minds, right? This was all a part of Esau's design, man. Okay, this was all a part of Esau's design. You just watched the video, basically breaking down how the black man being a deadbeat father. Okay, that whole narrative was engineered and designed by EEsau Edom. Okay, I think in the video it says something about it was basically through policy, through the court's legislation. Who controls the courts in the legislation of this society? EEsau Edom, the so-called white man. All right. So the so-called white man created this narrative, man. All right. That the so-called black man is just some deadbeat father and don't trust him. And then you got a lot of black women running around here today, okay, that are having babies with Israelite men. OK, and I know Israelite women that don't even give the Israelite man a chance to raise his child. She'll break up with him while the child is still in her stomach. That's how quick she wants to jump onto that feminism train and that independent woman train. All right. All of them benefits and all of that welfare. OK. But Esau, he had to do this because this was a clever tactic to destroy our nation as a whole. Because if the first business of a nation is the family. OK, the family is the first business, man. All right. That's the first business. All right. Because when you raise your children up and you raise them up with the correct mindset, OK, empires flourish from that. You know what I mean? Lucrative establishments flourish from that. All right. So this is what Esau had to destroy. OK, he had to destroy that so that way we wouldn't prosper as a nation and we'd be confused and scattered. You know what I mean? And we can't get along. Now the man can't get along with the woman. Esau don't have these type of problems, man. All right. When you look at the Edomite, you look at Esau's community. All right. He don't be on the internet arguing with his woman. You don't see the Edomite woman and the Edomite man arguing with each other and she cussing them out. You know what I mean? You usually see the Edomite woman with her husband, with her Edomite husband and her kids. All right. And, that father, if he owns some sort of establishment or whatever he's working towards and he wants to pass down an inheritance, okay, he can do that to his son. He can give that to his daughter or something. Right. But Esau, he took that opportunity away from us as a nation. OK, now the Israelite father, he can't really give a business to his own son or give a business to his daughter because now, it's all sorts of litigations against him. Child support. The mother, she's trying to fight him for more money. You know what I mean? This was all a part of the devil's design, man, to keep us in a low condition. OK, so I'm going to go ahead and read this from ChatGPT. I put in ChatGPT, I said, how has feminism negatively affected the black household? OK, and I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to read certain points and we'll get some scriptures and close it out. It says separation of the black man and woman. All right. Some argue that when second wave feminism pushed for independence from men and reliance on government aid, it unintentionally encouraged separation between black men and women. Yeah. And that's exactly what it did. OK, that's exactly what it did. You got women out here that don't even have a job. OK, they don't even have a job. They don't have any inspiration to get a job because they're living off of the government because she's a single black mother of 3 kids. All right. So because she's in that predicament, she knows that the government is just going to take care of her. All right. She gets welfare, food stamps, right? GR, you know what I'm saying? And they be cashing these women out. All right. They be cashing these women out. These bitches be getting like 800 in food stamps, 1,200 in a GR assistance. Then they might live in a goddamn 2-bedroom apartment and they got Section 8. You know what I mean? Paying fucking $300 a month. You know what I mean? And they get all of these benefits when they separate from the father. You're right. And it's not like the government is intentionally telling them, hey, listen, separate from that man and we'll give you all of this. Right. It's not like they're telling them that intentionally. What they're really doing is they're saying, look, we can't give you all of these benefits unless that father is not present. We only give these benefits to single mothers, single struggling mothers. Right. So these women, they hear that and they latch on to it, and then they'll purposely make themselves a single struggling mother. All right. Women out here will break up with their baby daddy. All right. They'll break up with their baby daddy just so they can get these benefits, man. And they'll break up with them for little to no reason. Start an argument, do something that she can't come back from, have sex with another nigga or something. But she'll do that just so she could get the benefits and she could live independent. And she ain't got to be under the instruction of a man. OK, this was all a clever tactic by eEsau Edom, man, to destroy our nation. OK, it says welfare policies at the time, like the man in the house rule, often restricted benefits to single mothers, discouraging cohabitation or marriage, which critics say weakened the traditional 2-parent black household. You see? All right. So it's exactly what I said. You know what I mean? They didn't outright tell the woman, leave the man. No, they told her, look, we only give these benefits to single struggling mothers. So if you're not a single struggling mother and you got a man, well, we can't really help you because now, you got 2 incomes. Right. So, women were, kind of pressured to make a choice. I could stay with this man and struggle paying these bills, right? And I got to go to work, right? And me and him, we go half on the bills, and I got to, but that would by default mean that I would have to come under his instruction and let him be the leader of the house. Or I could kick him out, get all my bills paid and never go to work. You know what I mean? And now I could be the breadwinner inside of my children's eyes, and my children can idolize me as the father and the mother. This is what these women have done, man. Okay? This is why the scriptures talk about the vintage shall fail. All right? The vintage is going to fail on these women that are, using the government, okay, to fund their lifestyle. All right? The Lord is going to dry that up, because this is what these women have done. All right. It goes back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter. And we're going to get that. We're going to get that. But let's keep going. It says shifts in family and gender roles. Feminist ideals of female independence and career ambition change traditional family dynamics. Because now you got a lot of women that, you hear what they say on the internet. I don't need no man. I could do it all by myself. What do I need you for? Right? And women are talking bigger than they've ever talked, man, about this. I don't need a man shit. You know what I mean? These women online, they talking real big now. All right. I don't need no nigga. I don't need this. What the fuck I need a man for? All a man is good for is to do this and do that. He gonna ruin your life. He gonna take your peace from you. But these women have been fed the career ambitious mentality, right? To where it's now become, don't chase a man, don't worry about having a family, get the career first, be a single mother, get the career first, then worry about the family last. So a big part of the reason why our nation is destroyed is because what the devil has fed to the woman, man. This is what caused Adam to fall. OK, the devil going after the weakest link. All right. It tells you that in the Willie Lynch letter as well, man. All right. Let's keep going. Some argue this caused tension between partners as roles that were once complementary, man as provider, woman as nurturer, became competitive. You see? So now you got the black woman competing with the black man, right? She wants to be the breadwinner. She wants to be the father and the mother, the uncle, the grandpa. She wants to be the one with all the wisdom, because Esau fed the black woman a lie that she can be a god too. Let's get that. Like I said, I told you we was going to go to Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Let's go Genesis. Just go to the 3rd chapter. OK. All right. Because this is what the devil put inside of the mind of the woman, that she can be a god, that she can run the household effectively. All right. And it's not the truth, because like I said, the majority of men that are in prison grew up with single mothers. You know what I mean? And Esau knew that the black woman was going to do a crappy job. OK, he knew that the woman was going to do a crappy job of her being the single parent and the only parental figure that the child has in the house. He knew that was going to be a disaster. All right. He was counting on it. OK, because without the father, all right, there's no structure in the house, man. All right. And you know what? I'm a testament of that. OK, for sure. I'm a testament of that. All right. Because, my mother and my father, they broke up when I was like 5 or 6 years old. So, my life was spent going between my mother and my father. So I'd spend a lot of time living with my mother, and then I'd spend some time living with my father. you know, and it was a complete difference between my mother and my father. You know what I mean? When I lived with my mother was more carefree, you know, not too much supervision. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say she had all bad qualities. There was some good things I learned, you know, being with a single mother. But the majority of what I learned was, you know, pretty much putting me in the wrong direction. It wasn't until I got with my father, when I got a little older, that's when I really learned structure, and I learned, you know, key things that make me the man that I am today. You know what I mean? Your father teaches you how to be a man. You know, young boys need their father. Okay. They need their father. All right. I don't give a fuck what any of you single black bitter baby mamas got to say. You know, I'm the mother and the father. So what? No, young men need their father, man. Okay. I'm a living testament of that, man. All right. There's certain things that a mother cannot teach a young boy. You can't teach that boy how to be a man. And my father, my father, he straightened out a lot of the bullshit I learned from my mother. Okay. My father was very authoritative, and he was very much about order. And I learned that through him. And when I was younger, I didn't understand it and I resented him for it. But now that I'm older, I appreciate it and I understand it. You know what I mean? I understand what he did. Okay. Because the father he's going to be the one that's going to make the hard choices. Women don't really like conflict. Women are, you know, you can swindle a woman, right? You can get over on your mother. Your father, he going to be checking all the dots. You know what I mean? He's the disciplinary factor of the household, and every child needs that, whether boy or girl. Okay. They need that, man. All right. But because Esau fed the Israelite woman the lie that she can be the you know, both parents, and she can do it all on her own. All right. This is a big part of the reason why our families are in a disarray. All right. Most, you know, black families, like I said, are usually governed by women. They're usually governed by, you know, the single mother, the grandma, you know what I'm saying? The father he's like a distant shadow that comes around on the weekends. And that's what a lot of these men they've been reduced to, because every time he comes around, the mother is trying to compete with him. They get into an argument. So now he has to deal with his kids from a distance. Esau knew that all of this would play out exactly the way it is going on, exactly the way that it is going on today. All right. And he knew that it'll have negative effects on our people. All right. And we would not be able to see eye to eye as a nation. OK, so this is Genesis 3, and let's start at verse 1. It says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?" So there it was. It was the serpent in the garden tempting the woman. Okay, he was tempting the woman with a different philosophy outside of the instruction of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right, because a mother and a father and a mother coming together and raising the children, all right, in unison, all right, and her coming under the father's authority, that is all a part of the Heavenly Father's design. Okay, that is what Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai purposed. All right, but the serpent, he put a different idea inside of the woman's mind. Okay, and that's exactly what Esau Edom did. He put a different idea inside of the so-called black, Latino, and Native American woman's mind. All right, and told her, look, you can do it all on your own. All right. And you know what? If you do it all on your own, we'll incentivize you. OK, we'll help you out. We'll be your father. We'll be the father of the household. Just call on us. Come down to the county building whenever you have an issue. All right. We'll fill up your EBT card. You know what I mean? We'll send you checks through the mail. We'll give you the wick. We'll give you everything you want. Okay? Just get that man out the house. Okay? Verse 2. You know what? Let's jump down to verse 4. Genesis 3:4. It says, "And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened." Okay? Is that not the same thing that the so-called white man promised the Israelite woman? If you get the man out the house, then you could be this career woman. You could be this independent entity. You can be, you can be the hero of the house, because that's what a lot of these women want. That's why a lot of these women they run towards being a single mother, because they want to be the ones that when the children grow up, when the children graduate high school, when the children, I don't know, let's just say the child goes to the NFL, she wants to be the one that the child, gives the trophy to. Like, oh, it was all because of my mama. It was all because of my mama I graduated high school. It was all because of my mama that I was able to get through college. I didn't have anybody but my mama. They love that shit. They love that. They want that. They want that little perk, that little reward. Okay. So they'll make sure that the father is nowhere in sight. Okay. And we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about how a lot of you bitter, demonic, evil baby mamas, you done ran the father off. Okay. So you got a lot of you demonic, evil, wicked ass bitches that had told the father, if you ever come around your child again, I'll call the police on you. Purposely push the father away, just so that way when the child grows up, the child can give you honor and respect and look down upon their own father. All right. This is what the serpent put in her head, man. Okay. This is enlightening, right, to the Israelite woman. And this is why she's helped the devil destroy her own nation, man. Okay. It says, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. All right. And that's how the Israelite woman walks around today. This is why the Israelite woman, she's so quick to mention her achievements and talk about her accolades and her college degrees, because she thinks that puts her on a level of a god. So how much more if she's a single mother that, had to do it all by herself, no help from a man, right? Got a college degree, right? How much more, if she's able to succeed through that? Yeah, her head is going to be through the roof. Okay. And this is what the serpent told her, man. Okay. That you can wiggle outside of the man's authority and you can get it on your own. See? Okay. But it was a trap. It was a trap. All right. Because when you read the rest of this story, because Eve did this, and death was introduced into the world. This is why the scriptures say, and through her we all die. So because she ran with the serpent, all right, because she ran with the serpent, the Lord pretty much cursed mankind, all right, because of her rebellion, all right. And now you got the Israelite woman today running with the serpent, and now our nation is cursed. Okay, our nation is cursed. All right, because these women have latched on to the serpent's philosophy, man. All right, so let's go back to Chat GPT. Okay, let's see. See if we can get some more points. Here's one. It says the focus on I don't need a man. Independence critics argue reduce cooperation between black men and women who once united against external oppression. Yeah, there was a time when the black man and the black woman were inseparable, even through all of the bullshit, even through chattel slavery, even through the times when the KKK was, hunting down black families. The black woman was right there, at her man's side. They were inseparable. Okay. You see, and that's why Esau had to destroy it, because even though Esau, he had authority over our people, you know, he still couldn't understand why the black woman was so loyal to her man. Right. And he knew that, OK, if I continue to let her be loyal to her man, then this black household will eventually raise up children, OK, to become our enemies. All right. And they'll surround us at some point in the future. All right. So what we can do is we can separate them. All right. And feed the woman a certain narrative to hate her own men. That way we ain't gotta hunt them down anymore. They'll be so distracted with fighting each other. All we got to do is just pass policies, you know, and do witchcraft behind the scenes. You know, that's really what happened, man. OK, let's see. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much it on this. Let's get some more scriptures. Okay, let's get some more scriptures. This is Mark 3:27. It says, "No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house." You see, and in Esau, Edom, he spoiled our house because he pretty much binded the Israelite man to all of these goddamn different litigations and contracts and child support and you know what I mean? If you discipline your children, you discipline that woman, you're at risk for a domestic violence case. You know what I mean? All sorts of different litigations that go against the Israelite man. Okay, when it comes down to him wanting to be an active father and be a responsible father and a leader of his household. The whole world is against you if you try that, man. This is why a lot of men are afraid to go against a baby mama, because they know that the courts is going to be on her side. Okay, they know that. You see, so Esau was not able to infiltrate our nation until he got us out the way. All right. And he started to work on the mind of the Israelite woman. All right. And this just ain't for the black woman. OK, I just want to say that this just ain't for the black woman. It's all you Israelite women, because the Latino woman, she goes through the same shit. You know, I will admit the Latino community, they do value family more than the black community. Right. So you will see more Latino woman, locked in with their man and raising children together. But that number is dwindling, okay, by the day. You're now starting to see a lot of Latino women doing the same shit as the black woman. You know what I mean? When you go to a county building, go to the county building, go to your local county building. The only thing you're going to see up in there is the black woman, the Latino woman, and the speckled bird Israelite women. Okay? Because it's the Israelite woman. This affected the Israelite woman. You don't see the Asian woman going through these type of things. You don't see, you don't see the East Indian woman going through these type of things. All right. Single baby mothers and single, going through it with her father and fighting him for custody. This is all the Israelite man versus the Israelite woman. OK, and the devil, he set this up, man. All right. So that way we wouldn't come together as a people. So he had to get us out the way. He had to remove the man's authority, OK, out the house, liberate the woman. OK, so that way our nation could be in a state of confusion the way that it is today. All right, let's go. Let's get this real quick. This is Exodus 8, and we'll start at Exodus 1 and 8. OK, we'll start at verse 8. It says, "Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Okay. And this is a big part of the reason why Esau had to destroy our family unit, because, our people multiply. You know what I mean? The Israelite man, back in the day, it used to be him, his wife, and like 6, 7 kids. You know what I mean? And then those kids have kids, and then those kids have kids. So this was the same thing that the Pharaoh of Egypt at the time, this is what he seen. Okay. And he had to come up with a strategic plan to, stop our population growth. Okay. And cause division within our households. All right. So that way we wouldn't grow in number and become mightier than him and overtake him. So Esau had to do the same thing, because look at what Jake accomplished before the feminism movement and, women being liberated the way that they are today. Well, you had the situation with Tulsa, Oklahoma, where, Jake pretty much created a whole fucking town. It was a whole town of nothing but black people. And, Jake at the time had their own businesses. They had their own dentists, their own banks, their own farmers. It was pretty much like a little, what could I say? A little sovereign state within America. All right. And it was nothing but so-called black people. OK, but that's when our people were united as a family. OK, that's when the family unit was strong. Right. But what did Esau do? He burnt down Tulsa, Oklahoma. OK, and then shortly after that. Right. He introduced the feminism movement to cause division between the black man and the black woman. All right. So let's keep going. It says verse 10, it says, come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. You see that? Okay. So you had this devil, this demon, the Pharaoh of Egypt at the time. Okay. He made a decree that, look, we need to come up with a strategy to stop these Israelites from growing. All right. We gotta try to cut off their family. We gotta try to, put more hell on them. Right. So that way they can't come together and overtake us. That's the same shit that Esau did, man. The same exact shit. OK. Esau, he did all of this so that way we wouldn't become that strong family unit and we wouldn't rise up against them. That's why he did all of this, man. OK. Because the first business is the family, like I said. All right. Let's jump down. It says verse 12. It says, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with vigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manners of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with vigor. OK, they increased that slavery. They increased that bondage. And that's what Esau did to the Israelite community. OK, in order to stop us from growing, as a family and us coming together as a nation, and, the Israelite man and the Israelite woman coming together and raising a strong family. Right. In order to stop that, he had to put more hell on us. Right. He came out with the 3 strikes rule. Right. He started imprison more young Israelite men for petty crimes and throwing football numbers at them. OK, this was all to stop us from growing, man. OK, just like this Pharaoh of Egypt right here, man. All right. So Esau, OK, he got our people serving with rigor. Salakia. OK, he increased the bondage. He increased the the policies upon our people, just so that way we wouldn't come together, man. OK, but the water Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai, all right, because the Lord has risen us up again, man. All right, the Lord has risen us up again, and we're coming back into who we are as a people, man. All right. It talks about that in Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. All right. The dead bones coming back alive, man. All right. So now that we have knowledge of the Heavenly Father again, okay, now we're actively restoring the discrepancies within our nation. Okay. Just like when you read the book of Ezra and Nehemiah, okay, it talks about how the Lord pretty much allowed the Israelites to go back to the city of Jerusalem and build the city up again. Well, that's what we're doing in the spirit. Okay, in these times, we're building up our cities again. We're trying to establish strong family units again. Okay, we're trying to be responsible fathers again, man. All right. You Israelite women that are tapped into the truth. OK, a lot of you are cleaning up your ways and, understanding the importance of having a father around. OK, you're starting to throw out that philosophy that you learned from the serpent. Just like the scriptures say, we're not going to lean upon him that smote us. OK, so, this is what Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai purpose for us in the latter days, that we were going to come up out of our sleep, okay, and we were going to come back to who we are as a people. And who we are as a people is based on the family unit. All right, our nation started off with the family unit, okay? Jacob and his sons, you know what I mean? That was a family. That's how we came about, okay? Through a family. All right. So the water Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai for giving us this knowledge, okay, so that way we could fix these mistakes. And in the kingdom of heaven, okay, we're gonna do everything the right way. Okay, we will be a family again. You will be able to have all of your women under you, and they'll be submissive, and they'll be attentive to your every word, and they'll value you as a father, as a leader of the household, okay? Because they won't have the devil's philosophy inside of them, man. All right, this is why we need eEsau, Edom to be taken out of the power seat, okay, and righteousness to be established, because this is righteousness, that a man gets to raise his children effectively, man. Okay, that women get come under the authority of a man, okay, and play her role of being the nurturer and the support of the household. Okay, so Lord willing, this was edifying. To give all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai. Shalom.